Legacies feel untouchable, but time spares no one, not even rock's greatest bands. These are 12 legendary acts where walking away would be the greatest gift they could give their fans. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Number 12. Mötley Crüe. 100 million records sold, a New York Times best-selling memoir, a Netflix biographical film, 6 studio albums released between 1981 and 1994 cemented one of the most documented careers in rock history. At their peak, Vince Neil, Tommy Lee, Mick Mars, and Nikki Sixx were genuinely untouchable. Then came the 2022 Stadium Tour, and something was clearly wrong. Vince Neil's vocal performances went viral for deeply uncomfortable reasons, with footage showing him struggling visibly through songs he had sung thousands of times. Then Mick Mars, the founding guitarist and arguably the soul of the band's sound, filed a lawsuit against the remaining members alleging the band had been relying heavily on pre-recorded backing tracks during live performances. When your founding guitarist sues you for being fake, the curtain has fallen. The legacy is real. The question is whether what is touring in its name still is. Number 11. Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Don't live too fast. Troubles will come.
March 5, 2023, marked the end of a direct living connection to the band's founding history. Gary Rossington, the last surviving original founding member, passed away at the age of 71. With him went the final thread connecting the current touring act to the lineup that created Freebird and Sweet Home Alabama, and permanently altered what Southern rock could be.
Sweet home Alabama. Lord, I'm coming home to you.
What remains is a group of talented musicians fronted by Johnny Van Zant, the younger brother of late founder Ronnie Van Zant, performing under a name to which no original founding member can currently lay claim. They have every legal right to continue, but the question fans need to sit with is what they are actually buying a ticket to see. No original vocalist, no original guitarist, no original drummer. After March 2023, the name is all that remains.
Follow your heart. Oh, nothing else.
Number 10. Foreigner. In February 2024, founder and lead guitarist Mick Jones made a heartbreaking public announcement through Billboard. He had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, explaining his prolonged absences from the band's ongoing farewell tour. Jones, the creative architect behind I Want to Know What Love Is and nearly everything else that made Foreigner matter, can no longer reliably perform live. Foreigner continued without him, fronted by vocalist Kelly Hansen, who joined in 2005, backed by musicians most fans cannot name. Audiences paying top dollar for a farewell experience are watching a group that contains no member from the classic lineup. Jones built this band from the ground up in New York City in 1976. A farewell tour he cannot attend is not a farewell. It is something else entirely, and it deserves to be called what it is. Number 9. The Beach Boys. Brian Wilson's neurocognitive disorder diagnosis became public in May 2024, when a conservatorship over his personal and financial affairs was granted by a Los Angeles court, effectively ending his ability to tour. What remained was a question fans had quietly been asking for years. Which version of the Beach Boys is even the real one? Mike Love holds exclusive touring rights to the Beach Boys name under a licensing agreement dating to 1998. The version Love takes on the road regularly plays state fairs and corporate events without Brian Wilson and without Al Jardine, both of whom publicly distanced themselves from Love's touring act for years. The band that created Pet Sounds in 1966, one of the most critically acclaimed albums in American music history, deserves a permanent retirement rather than an indefinite county fair circuit, under a name that no longer means what it meant. Before we go any further, Which of these bands did you see live in their absolute prime? Drop the year and the city in the comments, and let us know where in the world you are watching from right now. Number 8. Journey. Court documents filed between 2022 and 2023 revealed a band at war with itself in ways that were simultaneously petty, public, and corrosive. Guitarist Neil Schon and keyboardist Jonathan Cain were locked in lawsuits involving corporate credit card spending, unauthorized use of band assets, and a bitter public dispute after Cain performed at a political fundraising event Schon publicly opposed. The legal filings included details so personal that any remaining fantasy of Journey as a unified band became difficult to sustain. Meanwhile, Filipino vocalist Arnel Pineda, who joined in 2007 and has given everything to this lineup, deserves better than to be the public face of a corporation tearing itself apart in court. Steve Perry's shadow looms over every performance and every legal filing alike. The internal war makes retiring the honorable choice, not just for the legacy, but for the people currently trapped inside it. Number 7. Bon Jovi. The 2024 Hulu documentary, Thank You, Good Night was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it became one of rock music's most honest and quietly devastating self-portraits. Jon Bon Jovi, the architect of 130 million records sold worldwide, sat on camera and quietly admitted that his voice might never fully return to what it was. He underwent vocal cord surgery in 2022 to address severe damage accumulated over 4 decades of relentless touring. The documentary showed him working through his own songs in private rehearsal, reaching for notes and not always finding them cleanly. John himself said that if the surgery did not restore his full abilities, retirement was on the table. That kind of honesty deserves respect and probably deserves to be acted upon. Some voices carry a generation. When they go, no surgery and no amount of professional goodwill brings them all the way back. Number 6. Guns N' Roses. Reviewers covering the band's 2023 Glastonbury headline slot used words no Guns N' Roses fan ever expected to read: thin, strained, deflated. Those descriptions appeared repeatedly in coverage of Axl Rose's vocal performance. The man who delivered Welcome to the Jungle with a ferocity that redefined what a rock front man could be was visibly struggling through songs he wrote in his 20s. The reunion of Axl, Slash, and Duff McKagan in 2016 generated enormous excitement, and in the early years, it felt genuinely vital. But with no new studio album following Chinese Democracy from 2008, the act has calcified into a nostalgia marathon running on borrowed momentum. When a band's greatest asset is the past and the present cannot convincingly match it, the argument for continuing gets harder to make with every passing year.
Someone said it was me.
Before we reach the final 5, here is something worth considering. These bands shaped entire decades of music history, but there is a meaningful difference between honoring a legacy and exhausting it. Which band on this list do you think should have retired first? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Yes.
The warmth I gave you is turned to emptiness.
Drummer Alan White's passing on May 26, 2022, at the age of 72, left guitarist Steve Howe as the sole remaining member from the classic lineup that defined progressive rock. Albums like Close to the Edge and Fragile are still regarded as 2 of the greatest progressive rock records ever made. The band that created them no longer exists in any meaningful sense. Vocalist John Anderson was sidelined in 2008 following severe respiratory failure and never returned to the touring lineup. Founding keyboardist Rick Wakeman has toured separately for years under his own name. Both have been critical of the current touring act. Singer John Davison performs the classic material with technical skill, but the creative DNA of the band departed with its founders. Even admirers of Steve Howe's commitment would struggle to argue this is the same band in anything more than name and copyright.
Between you and I, your heart is inside your head.
Number 4. Scorpions. In 2010, the band stood before the world and made a promise. The Get Your Sting and Blackout Tour was announced as their final farewell. They had earned it. Decades of sold-out arenas and songs like Rock You Like a Hurricane and Wind of Change had cemented their place in rock history, and a dignified exit felt right. Then, in 2012, they reversed the decision entirely. By 2015, they had released a new studio album titled Return to Forever, making their earlier farewell a forgotten public promise. 14 years after their own goodbye announcement, Klaus Meine continues performing material from an era that ended decades ago. The Scorpions had something almost impossibly rare: a perfect exit. They had the crowd, the goodwill, and the moment. They put the microphone down and then quietly picked it back up. And that decision has become a running, self-inflicted wound their legacy cannot keep absorbing. Number 3. Chicago.
The empty yesterdays have disappeared.
Terry Kath was, by accounts including a documented assessment from Jimi Hendrix himself, one of the most gifted guitarists of his generation. His death on January 23, 1978, at the age of 31, was a wound from which the band never truly recovered. Peter Cetera, the vocalist who carried them through their massively successful 1980s pop era, departed in 1985 following creative disagreements. Today, only Robert Lamb, Lee Loughnane, and James Pankow remain from the original 1967 lineup. The current touring version relies on replacement vocalists and younger instrumentalists to fill the considerable gaps left by decades of departures. They are phenomenally polished, and live reviews consistently acknowledge as much. But the fiery, politically charged jazz rock band that released Chicago Transit Authority in 1969 exists now only on vinyl. 3 original members sharing a stage with a cast of replacements is a pension arrangement, not a band. Number 2. The Who. Pete Townshend told The Times in 2019 that financial considerations were among his motivations for continuing to tour. It was a startlingly candid admission from the man behind Tommy Quadrophenia and some of the most explosive live performances in rock history. Roger Daltrey, now 81 years old, stepped back from his longtime role curating the Teenage Cancer Trust concerts in early 2024, citing advancing age and declining vocal stamina. To compensate for the raw power they can no longer generate, recent tours have incorporated full orchestras, a beautiful arrangement that also inadvertently underscores exactly what has been lost. Keith Moon is gone, John Entwistle is gone. The thunder that made The Who the most ferocious live act of the 1960s and 1970s cannot be reconstructed by any orchestra, however large or skilled. What remains is a monument to a sound that no longer fully exists. Monuments deserve to stand still. Number 1. The Rolling Stones.
See people turn their heads and quickly look away.
Hackney Diamonds, released on October 20th, 2023, was a genuine shock. The first album of original Rolling Stones material in 18 years arrived sounding vital, sharp, and remarkably alive. Critics who braced for a legacy cash grab found themselves writing rave reviews instead. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, both in their early 80s, delivered one of the strongest late-career albums in rock history. And that is precisely why right now is the perfect moment to stop. Charlie Watts, the heartbeat of the band for 57 years and the most elegant drummer in rock history, passed away on August 24, 2021. His absence has reshaped the group in ways that cannot be undone. Hackney Diamonds was dedicated to him, and it stands as a magnificent final statement. Ending a 60-year career on a critically acclaimed album with the crowd still cheering and the legend completely intact is something almost no band in the history of popular music has managed. The Rolling Stones have that chance right now. Every concert from this point forward risks diminishing what they have just restored, and some things are worth more than another tour.